Hello and welcome to this week's PV Newscast, coming from the Solar Power UK event at the International Convention Centre in Birmingham. In this week's programme, the UK's biggest solar power event opens. Trade spat starts between the US and China, and how to beat the 50 kilowatt feed-in tariff limit. The biggest solar power event to take place in the UK opened in Birmingham. Organisers said with the phenomenal growth of the industry in the UK over the past 2 years, the event was aimed at uniting the major companies with the installers and operators. It also comes at a time when the future of the feed-in tariff is in the balance, and there are calls for the government to take PV more seriously.
Almost 3,000 delegates descended on the ICC in Birmingham for the UK's largest ever solar power event. The industry has seen tremendous growth in a short time. As a barometer, this event is around 5 times bigger than last year's. 2 years ago, when the feed-in tariff was introduced, there were 400 registered installers. There are now more than 3,000. So Solar Power UK aims to unite the various players, large and small.
Well, Solar Power UK is really bringing the industry together at a very turbulent time. There's a lot of rumours, there's a lot of conjecture about will the feed-in tariffs be slashed before the April deadline set by the Department of Energy and Climate Change for next year. We've got the Minister coming tomorrow, and we're all eagerly awaiting an announcement from the Minister to understand won't there be an emergency review. So Solar Power UK is really about bringing the whole industry together to understand what the cuts might be, but more importantly how we can work beyond those cuts and how we can build a sustainable solar industry in the UK for many years to come.
The event is giving the businesses operating throughout the industry access to the experts, and the early delegates had a variety of reasons for attending.
I'm looking to understand better the future of the solar PV industry in the UK. It's obviously been upset by various government decisions in the last few months, and I'm looking to get a better understanding where the future might be.
I'm looking at distributors and to improve pricing, but the main product I've come here to see is actually a remote monitoring system to sort of offer to our clients.
Just more knowledge about solar and just sort of obviously gain knowledge for our company as well, so we can obviously pass that information on and just to sort of obviously meet everyone at the stores here today.
You notice these type of shows coming up all over the place, and I think there's definitely a bit of a buzz about them, and to be part of it is definitely where we as a company want to be.
Any information we can take away from this is all benefiting our trade and networking, as I say, meeting new people, expressing new ideas, etc., finding out what other services are available.
Birmingham proudly sees itself at the forefront of environmental technologies, especially with photovoltaics. The council aims to set the standard for the whole country to follow, so it's significant that the event is being held in the city. The local government is pushing ahead with major developments to introduce solar power in the region.
We've launched Birmingham Energy Savers. We've already completed phase 1, which is a very small pilot in an eco-village in the Summerfield area of Birmingham, retrofitting about 40 council properties. We've expanded that, and phase 2 now takes into account 1,200 council properties, mainly in the Northfield area of Birmingham, but we're extending that to include council buildings, our schools, our libraries. But the big game change will be phase 3, which is a multi-million-pound investment utilising the very generous feed-in tariff we have in Birmingham, which will roll out photovoltaics to over 8,000 buildings in Birmingham.
Along with the conference, more than 140 exhibitors are showing at the event, including some of the biggest names in the market, which confirms how important it is to the industry.
SolarWorld announced that along with 7 other US manufacturers that include First Solar, it had positioned the US federal government to stop what it calls an ever-increasing tide of heavily subsidized solar cells and panels, and that China's state-supported solar industry is illegally dumping into the American market. Spearheaded under the name the Coalition for American Solar Manufacturing, the group filed complaints with both the US Department of Commerce and the International Trade Commission. Major Chinese PV manufacturers, including Suntech, Kirchner Solar, Yingli Green and Canadian Solar, have all denied such claims along similar lines.
I challenge anybody to find an iota, an inkling, of any sense of any type of funding or favoritism or any type of preferential type of loan guarantees or anything that the complaint had mentioned to Canadian Solar. We're a global company with manufacturing both in North America and in China. There's a lot of companies that have manufacturing in China too. But as a Canadian company, we would never even be entitled to these subsidies if they actually exist. I'm not saying they do. I'm saying if they actually exist. With a global manufacturing presence and a global sales presence, I mean, yes, we do manufacture in China also. But, let the investigation take its place, but I can guarantee you that there's no warrant, there's no merit there, at least on behalf of the side of Canadian Solar, and that's a fact.
First Solar has announced the sudden departure of CEO Rob Gillette. Specific details were not given, but the company did say that former First Solar CEO, company founder and current chairman Mike Ahern has stepped in as interim chief executive officer. New Offgem figures dispel the myth that energy rises are due substantially to the support for renewables. Some reports claimed the figure to be as much as 30% of current energy price hikes. But the new facts show renewable costs to the taxpayer are actually just £1 per year. And the government has significantly increased its tax take from the industry as a result of the massive upturn in the industry, particularly from significant job creation.
Treasury at the moment are earning something like 278 million per year. From the industry, because the industry has grown to 30,000 people. So it's big revenues going into Treasury, and what we'll be campaigning for is to have some of that money put in to top up the feed-in tariff. The industry's grown so quickly that no one's really caught up with the numbers. Some people thought it was only 10,000 people employed, and we've just published figures which are 30,000. So of course, when you do the numbers, it's totally different in terms of size and scale.
After the UK revised its feed-in tariff, limiting support for systems no larger than 50 kilowatt, many in the industry saw this as a deal-breaker. But perhaps there is a solution that many have overlooked. A module tracking systems specialist thinks he knows how.
We installed actually with one of our partners in Norway a 5-tracker together, because we are able to put on one tracker about 10 kilowatt. And a key benefit for the UK market is if you install 5-tracker, 50 kilowatt, you get comparable to a fixed installation of 70 kilowatt, for example, the feed-in. The problem is in the UK, you don't get the feed-in tariff for 70 kilowatt. But with a 50 kilowatt, we can perform as well. You need to buy less modules, and you still have a much better return of your investment.
Well, that's it from Birmingham for this week, but keep up to date with the latest news by logging on to the PV-Tech website, pv-tech.org, where we will bring you the news as it happens. Thanks for watching.